Geoff, before we get your predictions on this, I want to ask you a question. Of these 4 teams who could be promoted from the playoffs, who would you give the best chance of surviving in the Prem next year?
Coventry City and Ipswich Town have already secured promotion to the Premier League next season. Who will join them? It'll either be Millwall, Hull City, Southampton, or Middlesbrough. Millwall take on Hull. That is today for the first leg, and then tomorrow Southampton versus Middlesbrough, and then on the 23rd of May is when the finals are, and when we will figure out who will be the third team to go up to the Premier League next season. Now, the last time that these teams saw Premier League play for Southampton, it wasn't too long ago, just a season ago. However, for Middlesbrough and Hull City, they haven't seen Premier League action since 2016-2017. It has, however, been the longest time for Millwall, who have yet to play in the Premier League since the rebrand in the 92-93 season. So let's bring in our guy, Geoff Shreeves, who's not in studio with us. He is over in England, so it feels like a little bit of a throwback, guys, when we would always have Geoff Shreeves on.
I thought Geoff was going to be coming from a bush outside of one of these training grounds, spying for one of the clubs.
Was that you, Geoff, doing a little bit of spying?
Tom, but I got there, it was too crowded. There were too many spies from other clubs.
Geoff, how was the trip back over to England?
Oh, I've been to Hull and back. But I haven't come back yet, obviously. It was fine, all fine. And to be honest with you, Claudia, it's hard to get your head round. And over the next 5 days, we've got 5 games for the biggest prize in sport. It's absolutely incredible. And every single one of these clubs have got high hopes of being the team that does it this year. And you can analyse it all you like, and it's so difficult to pick exactly who is going to do it. You can look at history, you can look at current form, but often those things go right out the window. You can see for yourselves there, the money that is involved is absolutely huge. To give you an idea of the prize money, if Millwall went up, it would be worth about 100 million to them. Their annual turnover is 25. So, what does that tell you?
Geoff, speaking of Millwall, this is a team that has had the longest drought of these playoff teams to get to the top division. What has fueled their run back to this part of the table that they haven't really been in for a long time?
Tom, they're decent. They're difficult to beat. They're very good on the road. In fact, if you look at the top 4 divisions in England right now, only Arsenal are better on the road than Millwall. They only lost 4 times this season away from home. They're not a team that's too bothered about possession either, though, Tom. I mean, look, clearly in Femi Aziz, they've got a fantastic player, but they cross the ball. They're dangerous in the air. They like to get the ball in early, and they like to get it in advanced positions. In fact, the 2 playoff games could not be more polar opposite. These 2 teams tonight, Hull and Millwall, really, possession is not their game. Middlesbrough at Southampton, completely different. But if Millwall did it, it would be incredible. And look, they've had 3 goes at this and failed every single time. In fact, they've not even won a semi-final in a playoff to go to the top division in English football. So this would be quite some achievement if they could do it.
Geoff, you've covered this league, this country, these clubs for the longest time. Tell me what would Millwall... I didn't say that.
Way to put him on blast.
But, he knows the league. He knows Millwall. What would the Premier League look like with Millwall in it?
Different is the bottom line, Aaron, because it's a story club, it's an historic club, but it is a small club. And if they were to get, listen, they'd love the challenge, but if they were to get there, it would be a massive challenge for them to stay in the division because, as you know, as well as anybody else, you can have philosophies, you can have playing styles, but at the end of the day, it's about having the best players. And with their tiny, tiny budget, they would have to change things considerably. But at the same time, they'd want to keep what they've got that got them there in the first place. I think you have to, as well, give huge credit to Alex Neil, the manager. He's done an incredible job, and of course, he's been there and done it himself before. He did it up in Scotland, he's done it at Sunderland, and he took Norwich to the Premier League as well. So he has to take a great deal of credit for the turnaround at Millwall.
So, Geoff, talk to me about the chance of Hull City coming in 6th place, sneaking into this playoff. Do they have a puncher's chance? Because I know they won away 3-1 at Millwall, but given this part of the season, it feels like this is Millwall's to get into that final.
Yeah, like I said at the top though, Charlie, it's weird when you analyse the stats, because predominantly it's that if you go over the history of the playoffs, the team that finishes third is the team that ends up getting promoted. But 5 out of the last 7 years, the team that finished fourth is the team that has won the playoff final as well. So yes, of course they have more than a puncher's chance. You would worry about their form. 1 win in 7 at the end of the season. So talk about a late run. I would say this would be more of a late run. What was the horse that won the Kentucky Derby? Something Tempo?
I think it's
know because
Grand Tempo.
yeah, I know because I didn't back it and lost money on something else. But this would be Golden Tempo. This would be just like Golden Tempo's run, because Hull were not really anywhere near it until the dying minutes of that game against Norwich. So can they ride the momentum, the feel-good factor of having snuck in at the last minute? But they've got the perfect record in playoffs to get into the Premier League. They've done it before. So that will give them confidence as well. So again, Charlie, you alluded to the 3-1 win. They beat Millwall at the Den. Millwall beat Hull 3-1 here at the MKM. So they've traded blows already this season.
Geoff, looking at the match that we have tomorrow, Middlesbrough taking on Southampton. Southampton truly have been, you could say, unstoppable this season. What has been the secret to their success to get them to this point?
Yeah, you have to say the coach, Tonder Ecker, since he's come in, he's done an incredible job. They were going really, really well. They had a wobble just after Christmas, and then he changed the formation, made it nice and simple for them, very straightforward, the way that they play. And the players have just responded, Claudia. They're on a fabulous run right now. They are the form team. They're one of the form teams in Europe right now. They've been absolutely excellent. Absolutely. They're the sort of team where it does what it says on the tin, if you know what I mean. As you know yourself, Middlesbrough, it's been a very strange season for them.
Yeah, I mean, can you say, Geoff, that the motivation for Middlesbrough, though, is that they were top 2, the majority of this season? So they feel like this is their position because they had it the majority of this season. Is that enough motivation, you think, for Middlesbrough to come into this match and win it?
I don't think it's... look, the motivation is there. It's the chance to get to the Premier League. So it's not a question of motivation. I think it's a question of mentality. How much will Middlesbrough feel having topped the division, having knocked Coventry off top spot? And it was only when Coventry beat them in the reverse game that it all started to fall apart for them. How much will they be feeling the confidence? How will they say, OK, we've got to lift ourselves up here now. We've got to go again. And it's a difficult thing, because when you've lost that winning habit, when you've got the kind of, 1 win in 7, that's not great form to be coming into the playoffs. But the playoffs themselves, they are literally, they're like 3 finals, because the feeling around it is very much, of course, the semis is a 2-legged affair, but it's all or nothing. You leave nothing on the table. This is your chance to play Premier League football. And there'll be players in all of these squads who've never played in the Premier League. So the chance to play your trade on the biggest stage of them all, you've got to give absolutely everything you've got.
Geoff, before we get your predictions on this, I want to ask you a question. Of these 4 teams who could be promoted from the playoffs, who would you give the best chance of surviving in the Prem next year?
So you start to think squad, you start to think money. So on that basis, Aaron, it would come from Borough or Southampton, but both would need to invest as well, which they would be able to do to a degree because of the money that's involved. But you're then playing catch-up with other established teams above you. I mean, Aaron, you've only got to look at Sunderland last season. What a stunning success they've been. So it's not an impossible task. Difficult to split between Sunderland and Middlesbrough. In Middlesbrough, they've got a fantastic owner in Steve Gibson, their chairman, has always supported the team, and he would back them as much as he possibly could. So, one of those two. I don't think there's much to choose between the two of them.
Geoff, let's get you to invest your money in your own parlay. Put on your best John Buckets Eimer hat and give us your parlay for the first legs of these matches.
You want me to do a buckets parlay, or do you want me to do a winning parlay? I think I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, there's also a very low history of teams overturning semi-final first leg deficits as well. So I think ultimately, I think it will be a Millwall Southampton final, and I see Southampton prevailing. I think Southampton will be promoted to the Premier League. That's where my money would be.
All right, we love it, Geoff. Thank you so much. We have all the matches, first leg, second leg, all coming up throughout the next couple of days. Geoff, we appreciate it. Enjoy the matches.